Welcome back. Okay, we all know that change is hard, but in D.C. we're used to it just about every time an administration comes to a close and a new one takes over. So what can we learn about transitions in our lives from the big one that's underway right now? My guest tonight is Britt Hogue. She's the founder of The Collective Good, and she's up late with me tonight here on The Final Five. Welcome in. Good to see you tonight.
Thanks, Jim. Great to see you.
Change is, for some people, they handle it and they weather it much better than others. And I know we're looking at this through a political lens here, but it really is something that this transition, I think, has the potential to be life-altering for so many people in and out of our governments.
Yeah, I mean, it will definitely be a sea change across both the national level, at the state level, and then we know a lot of folks are going to be dealing with changes as a result of this. The ripple effects of this change are going to impact workplaces, impact schools, and so we have a lot to prepare for.
You know, it's interesting. I think about, I've been lucky here in most of my jobs where we've had a lot of continuity in leadership. It's been the same people in charge. But when you get the email that there's somebody new who's coming on board, it really is, it really jolts you, and you wonder, am I doing things right? How do I impress this new boss?
Yeah.
Am I going to have a job through all this? And these are questions. Is it natural to have those sort of questions?
It's absolutely natural. You know, change is hard, right? And, you know, when you see a change coming, you don't know what's on the other side of it. There's a lot of uncertainty. You're trying to figure it out. And I think that's, you know, one of the things that we say a lot for folks who are on the receiving end of change is to lean into it as much as possible. Listen, ask questions, engage, so that you're not reacting to the unknowns without any information. You can process what's going on, and you can, you know, manage your way through it with at least some information and some certainty about what might come.
You talk about something called a restorative process in the context of there being a transition. What does that mean? Is that something? Is that a universal approach, whether you're in government or business? It is.
It is. And actually, restorative practices take their roots from indigenous communities that have been doing this for generations. And they are seemingly simple techniques that are really intentional, though. It's things like sitting down and listening to each other. You know, when something disruptive happens, when there's harm that's caused to the community, you sit down and you talk about it, and you try to just kind of navigate your way through it together, as opposed to just reacting purely on emotion, going to your separate corners. And so we could certainly take a lot of lessons from that when we're in a polarized situation where there are a lot of folks that are happy about the outcome of the election. There are a lot of people that are unhappy about it. And so the best thing we can do is try to lean into it and listen to each other, have more conversations, and try to kind of see, you know, maybe where the other side is coming from.
We mentioned in terms of the transition, you have the president-elect promising this Department of Government Efficiency, which won't necessarily be a government organization, but you have the likes of Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk saying, you know, we're gonna tear things down. We're going to go through the budget with a red pen and scissors and throw out the playbook here. Yeah. That can be a lot. Even if you have been in the same job for 20, 30 years. That has to be very unsettling to hear that.
Right. It is. It is. And so, you know, you can have plans for a lot of changes, but I think coming right out of the gate and saying we're going to change everything is going to be unsettling to folks, and folks are going to react to that. And so, you know, I think what leaders can do is maybe slow things down a little bit. And you know, it's hard to say from the White House, you know, that folks are going to be able to say much about how that's going to play out. But I think, you know, when you're dealing with this a little closer to home in your workplace, and a new leader is coming in and saying, we're going to change this, we're going to have to make a lot of changes, how can you maybe lean into that conversation and try to understand, you know, why are these changes taking place? What are the actual steps that this leader might take to try to navigate us through these without trying to blow the whole thing up overnight? And from the leader's perspective, how can you listen to what folks are concerned about and maybe take a step-by-step approach to rolling out perhaps a lot of changes, but do them in a way that folks can absorb and respond to. We're
just about out of time here. I think sometimes we are set in our ways. We have a certain mindset as we approach our day-to-day life and our jobs. In terms of there being shifting that mindset, how do leaders get people on board with that idea?
Yeah, I think it's all about a vision. right? If you can communicate a clear vision to folks, that gives them something to grasp onto, and it helps folks navigate through the uncertainty.
Yeah. All right. Britt, thank you so much. Thanks for having great meeting you.
Thanks so
We
much for
appreciate it.
having
Again,
me.
these are questions a lot of people have, even if you have nothing to do with what's happening in the Capitol or the White House.
That's exactly right.
Because change is coming everywhere.